hello, and welcome to Energy Evolution. I am Amy Elizabeth, and today I have one of our lead mentors, Heather Howley. And so you are listening to this so that you can understand more about what we do, what makes us different, and who's on our team, so that you understand how you're going to be supported and held through your journey of answering the question, who am I and what am I doing here? And really truly getting to know yourself and being held and supported through our experts and our loving, compassionate mentors. Heather, how are you?
I'm great, Amy. Thank you.
So Heather and I have known each other for many, many years, beyond a decade. And I have had the pleasure of being able to Sherpa Heather through lots of life's experiences and business experiences, which has been really fun. And so I can say that I know Heather very well and I trust her explicitly. And Heather's been working in the energy evolution space for a number of years now with a number of clients and have helped them get from where they are to where they want to be in coaching language. And as we have shifted our program and the way that we cultivate this experience, we now have these beautiful lead mentors, and Heather is one of them. She is a trusted lead mentor. She supports somebody through a year-long journey in their soul's evolution. And Heather, I just want to ask you before we get into the different paths of what somebody gets to experience with you and things of that nature, if we can we can touch in a little bit about you.
Yeah, I think for anyone that's looking to work with our mentors and myself, it's important to know sort of where we come from. So I have owned a helicopter business for the last 16 years and still going. And I'm in the process now of selling said business. So I've grown it from $25, literally nothing, to a multi-million-dollar business. And through my experiences and what I've learned along the way, I've unfortunately sometimes learned the hard way and have developed certain skills and a database, if you will, of things that now help other entrepreneurs grow their own businesses or start their own businesses. The business side of things has really cultivated from nothing into this massive entity that it is now. And now I'm looking forward to my next step. But along that path, as I see with most of the clients that I work with now, there are life events that occur that could potentially derail somebody and potentially are great mirrors for somebody as they're going through to see where not only in business are things falling apart, but potentially in their life they're falling apart and where they could use a little bit of help. I know for myself personally, I had my husband passed in 2013, which was a massive awakening for me along my path and something that redirected my trajectory quite a bit. And for those that don't know, I mean, obviously you and I were working together in that moment. And I think that and us working together really shifted into where I'm going now as far as helping other people on their own paths and guiding them and showing them what's possible for them.
I love that. And you know, when you touched into a traumatic experience for yourself, one of the things that I think is really important for us to understand and know about the people that we're working with is to understand where they've been in terms of the depth of feeling and sensation that they're able to embody, right? And so we can call that pain or trauma. And the reason being is that the more that they can embody a deeper felt sense of whatever the sensation, the higher they can take you. And so that container gets to be expanded. And so what I love about what we're doing is we hold a very wide, expansive container with a number of other mentors who specialize in spiritual growth and personal development. And so on this journey, there are two paths with the energy evolution experience. And so you can experience the clearing path or the questions path. And so people typically come to us with the feeling of everything is great and I am at the top of my game. And then realizing that actually there's a lot of stuff underneath the surface that needs to get cleared. And so somebody like Heather, who has gone through massive grief and trauma, is able to reflect those versions of self and shadow self back at somebody to be able to feel and integrate. And that's a really important thing. And then alongside our mentors who, potentially it's bioenergetic work and clearing, potentially it's somatic therapy or rapid resolution therapy, hypnotherapy. It can also be other forms of energy medicine and shamanism, or soul retrieval, things of this nature, depending on what is your type and your vibe and what you like to do or what you want to try on, to do the work to clear the excess energy or the heavy, dense energy or the energy that no longer exists in your field. And then Heather comes in to help you integrate those parts of yourself. So do you want to give us an example of a time where you helped somebody integrate a very difficult situation in their life?
As you were talking earlier, the thought that came up is, every individual has so many different facets. And I think what's so great about having a lead mentor is having someone, like you said, to reflect that back to you, but to see all those different facets and to know intuitively perhaps where to send that person within our group that can then support them in the best ways and guide them along that path. But yeah, as far as an experience of someone going through something traumatic, my most recent client was going through a breakup and moving. And so a lot of life transitions between, leaving a relationship, leaving a home, and he was in the midst of starting a new business. And so there were a lot of layers to things that were going on, and sort of walking him through and, potentially even knowing that that was coming down the pipeline for him to see this and help with those different facets as he went through each step, and providing him with the help within our group that he needed, to really up level within all of that and not just be stuck.
Yeah, and I think it's such an important part of the process to be able to also have a strong personality that's very clear. And Heather, one thing I can say about you is that you are crystalline clear, and extremely open-minded and non-judgmental. And I am so grateful for your ability to be able to hold space in the ways that you do, because it's very clean. And we don't often see that in the space. But then we have our questions path. And our questions path is really those people who are seeking, right? The spiritual seekers who are asking the questions, who am I? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? And, it's almost like a child that's like, why? And I do remember, I do remember when I started working with Heather, that was very much her thing. And so she was like a kid in a candy store, and anything she could get her hands on, she dove into and researched incessantly. And it's a beautiful thing, because Heather, part of the reason that I trust you as a lead mentor is because you know so much about multiple modalities, whether they be scientific or they be otherwise, spiritual growth, even in the plant medicine realm. You have tried everything on, if not more than a few times, multiple times, and then adopted that as a way of your work. And so are there any modalities that you want to highlight that have really supported you and helped you in your questions path?
It's funny, when you mentioned this path, I got very excited because I find it to be, it's very exciting for me. I love the questioning. I love the curiosity, and I love taking people down that path of curiosity and also being curious with them. There are some things that people have brought to me that I had never heard of either. And I'm like, ooh, let's look at that together. Let me dig in and know that a little bit more. So yeah, I do come from like that math science background, and I love the scientific stuff, but also being open and curious to the other things, keep all of it. It's very exciting to be very curious with a client as well. And so for myself, I'm trying to think we did rapid resolution therapy. I did that training and I loved that. I thought that was fascinating, which opened up a door to hypnosis for me to be curious about as well. And then, through the plant medicine world, that's Pandora's box for me right now of what can I go into and find more exciting things within that. I've journeyed, I've past life regression. I can't say that any one of them are my favorites. I really do enjoy being called to something and then exploring that in its depths.
And I love that, because that sense of curiosity helps to continue to expand and keep you in a state of wonder and awe, like a child. And when we get to be in that place, we're actually pulling energy in that upward trending spiral of joy and expansion. And so one of the things I love about the questioning path is that it is a constant feeding of energy that's pouring into you, because the only thing that's really worth diving into and investing in is yourself. It's the number one thing that you get return on your investment. And so the more you inform and educate on the soul's path and who you are as an incarnated person here, like Heather Howley or Amy Elizabeth or whatever your name might be in this experience, in this incarnation, in this lifetime, the more information you have, the more supported you feel, and the more confident you are moving forward on the path. And so this is why this modality works so well, because we are going to have constriction and contraction. We are going to be in spaces where it's like, holy shit, am I ever going to get out of this? I mean, that's just part of life. You have to have contraction to know what expansion is. You have to have dark to know what light is. And having the tools and the support and the guidance, and if needed, the hand holding, so that you don't go beyond your edge and feel like you're out in outer space by yourself, is one of the most important things. And especially in this day and age where we lack connection. And Heather, one of the things I can say about you is you are one of the most heart-centered people that I know. You do what you love all the time. And ladies and gentlemen, she also has the best laugh ever. I've often said, if it was possible to bottle and sell, we would be billionaires.
I do love laughing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As you were saying, the constriction and contraction, I even started giggling. I was like, oh, I always know that when there's a constriction, A, it's temporary, and B, I have people that I can lean on, yourself included, to get me through that. Yeah. So, and it brings out the joy.
Yeah. And the consistent reminder of who you are and who you get to be, and the consistent reminder of the North Star provides more energetic potential and an upward trending spiral where the expansion happens so much faster. And we know this process so well. And Heather has lived it
for over a
decade. I mean, that's all I got to say, and so, ladies and gentlemen, if there's not somebody who's better to hold you in this place and on this journey, it would be this woman. So Heather, do you want to share anything else about yourself, about your journey with anybody who's listening?
Man, that's a great question. I feel like for myself, there's never one end. There's never one thing that I'm like, okay, once I achieve that, I'm done. It's always, as you put, the upward trending spiral, which I love. And knowing that everything in life is temporary. And so if I can remember to be expanding and contracting and to always be moving, then I'm doing what I'm meant to do on this planet in this lifetime. And I get to be expansive and I get to be in joy, and it's a choice and it's temporary. Yeah. And to always be in love. I mean, my one, if I could share one thing with everyone on the planet, right? It's that love is the most important thing. And if we can lead with love, live with love, be love, that's what we're meant to do.
One of the guiding posts of the energy evolution experience is impermanence and shift and change. And the more that we can change and innovate and be with the energy of the space and time that we're in, the more the accelerated growth happens. And I really appreciate you saying that, because I think it's something that people are very scared of. Yeah. But you confirming that that's the way that you're very comfortable in that space, and that's the way that you've lived, really helps another person understand that that's something they get to try on.
It can
just
be
like the coat. It can be 100%. And healing can be easy.
Yes.
It can be easy. It can be fun. And it doesn't have to be so heavy. And that's what we promote here at Energy Evolution. So Heather, thank you so much for your time and your energy. And this will not be the first or the last video of you. So folks, until next time.